Alright, so first I'm actually going to go in here. This opens up the root of the folder that we need, which is helpful. Like, I can navigate to it on my own, but since the file we're going to be making and editing is going to be in there, and I don't have this showing for reasons, but where the saves are is username folder, app data, which is a hidden folder by default, local low, Ludian Studios, RimWorld by Ludian Studios, and then in there is the folder with saves. We don't have a save that we're going to be editing yet, but we will. You don't even need to close the game. You just need to not be in the save. Though technically I could probably actually have the game open, edit the save, and then just load it. I have not pushed my luck to that extent. These are the ones that I did not disable. And I figure I might as well also show those because I've talked about them and shown some of it. So the skills, I have grumbled about the way they decay, how they decay, and this actually lets you set the thresholds for that. It still doesn't let me. What the game should do, what it doesn't do, is there should be a gap between the last time. It measures everything else in ticks. It should keep track of how many ticks since you used this skill. And after it's gone past some reasonable threshold, then you can start to decay, but never lose a level. By default, the game loses you levels of skill, and it's always decaying, even while you're actively using it. No. No to both of those. No. There should be a gap, and then if it's going to have this, the losing the level, be an option at all, it needs to be a skill you haven't used in at least a year, which is 60 days in game. I mean, really. That shouldn't even be an option until it's been unused for a significant amount of in-game time. Not, it'll just erode while you're using it. No. No. So, I disable the decay entirely. I have the losing a level thing disabled on top of that, even though it won't happen. And then there's it also caps how much XP you can make per day, which, no, I'm not going to limit that either. So, make all the XP, and any above that is not nerfed. So, no. This is what it says it is, and I don't see a need to actually turn that on. Since my actual boosts learning rate skills aren't fucked over by the default decay anymore, I don't need more. This is the one that just adds some, adds some extra quest things. And even with my custom difficulty turned down, basically as low as it can go, this was still, I got one, and it was still difficult. I had to send everybody I've got who could fight, which is 4 colonists out of the 7 I now have. 1 can't fight at all, and 2 are still children, so they're not any good at it. But there were enough insects in that ship that crashed that it was risky for competent colonists. And I had to space them and out so that I could have the ones who weren't actually being attacked in melee continue to shoot at the bugs until they were all dead, and thankfully nobody got fucked up permanently, but yeah, I had to actually retry that one a few times to get it to not go real bad. So, but yeah. This hover just tells me whether or not it's enabled. It's not actually describing them. But work tab is the one that gives me more nuance. Still not enough, but better than the default the game gives me. And then whether or not I never want sounds. I never want extra sounds, or almost never. And then I still turn them down or off if they end up being distracting or disruptive. But yeah, that's work tab is the name of it. It is what it does. It's named what it does. Deep stack is also named what it does. This at least says that you can have stacks be ridiculously large. I just have them the way they are, mostly. I have, with my current game, got a couple of stacks that have capped out, and I've needed to create a second one, namely steel. Steel is one of the things where you can build a whole massive room just to store it because you need so much of it, and you get so much of it, but hoarding the resources you end up needing takes a lot of space, and that shit gets real old real fast, so. And then that's one of those, you need it for the other stuff to work. It's a framework. It's not doing anything on its own. That's not unusual for mods, but we're going to make a new colony. Most of those will not work because the mods that have stuff included with them won't work, but that's why I have a vanilla one, which is just my default with, this is my bioengineered base. They are 15 to 19 is the lowest age range you can give. So I do that, and then the forced traits, both social and genetic. And I had said I wanted to see about having someone with something wrong with them so we can look at how that appears and how to remove it. If there's 2 of you, then we need 2. Right. They're added in the order I remembered to add them in. That one I had gotten all the way to rolling them and saw, oh no, these people are old. That's not what I wanted. Now that's their biological age, not how long they've been sitting in a pod in cryosleep. But yeah, my generic start when I'm not testing other things is, as I mentioned before, I have lots of legs up individually, but I start with nothing. And especially since I'm not going to be engaging with it. I will show what I mean when I say that basically easy as possible. Before I started doing custom, it was just peaceful. And it shows you what peaceful means. And then I make it easier from there. That one bothers me more because it's not supposed to happen with the way I do things. I do re-enable some things that peaceful turns off just because I wanted to see what they're like. Reward values are automatically scaled to compensate for threat scale, meaning with no threat scale, my interpretation of that is shit for rewards. But this is what I make my difficulty look like, which is not a lot, but more than nothing. I would like the settlements I actually have on the map to be closer together. These all go. This is added by that mod, and this is why I said it's mostly space folk. Oh, I think that's the one that adds the Glitter World tax that I can also add to the research node. But might as well show the whole process and talk about it. Some of those don't have adjustable settings, so they don't show up in that mods tab. Some of them. Animal hoods is just a craftable wearable. A 1x1 table is just that. What I go for, as much as I hate my maps catching on fire, and it happens with dry thunderstorms in Temperate, Temperate is a good start because I don't usually have the plant ability to grow the heal root at the start, and it grows natively. But I look for clustered up so that I have multiple good trade points in reasonable proximity. And then you have to be 5 or more spaces away from them for them to not be angry about you settling too close to them. So for here, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or more. Of course, I'm not going to do that because I want year-round, but sometimes they're too close together for us to make that happen. Mountains are a pain in the ass. Do you actually have all of our things? Yes. Okay, well, you're healthy. You're not. That's fine. That'll give us a list item to find. I know with addictions, you also have a separate list item that's added for a need they're craving for the drug they're addicted to that would also get to be cold, but a single injury on one of them is fine. Locks do just that. They add locks. Mine to exhaustion. I had seriously. Well, I mean, that's actually kind of perfect placement. Because if I'm not building my own thing to accommodate the farming that I don't usually do, well, okay, the livestock type agriculture that I don't usually do. And it's got super fertile stuff right out front. It's actually really, really nice placement. I'm not gonna fuss with all the toggling of things that I normally would. The one thing they need to do is equip those. But we're just gonna and I don't know if I actually have to, but I do. Quit to the main menu, and then if I wanted to, open that up, and from there, there's once it loads, now we have a save file. And we can see what we can see, but it already knows what I'm looking for. The first entry we'll see is these are all the forced traits I have given my faction. It has the entry with all of our starting conditions. And then, oh, it spawned somebody out in the world. That's not one of ours, though. This one is, because of the forced. That's her, and we know because of various aspects. So if we go up to the top of her entry, thing, pawn, human. That's actually the top of it. Now, the mod that was adding other color data that was up here is gone, so the way I would adjust her hair and skin color is actually just here. But, so, we have our colonist, stuff that I'm not going to bother with. If I had given her a cue, it would show up in here. And then the clothes they start with. Her background, her body type, head shape, hairstyle. A thing about changes. If I start typing over that, it will have to pause and think about it. If I type it, it doesn't. But we get our traits, last name, now the weapon she's wearing, and the values that comes with. Age tracker. I did the math. I don't have it expressly in front of me, but I do have wonder if it's okay. It's still in hers. Cool. It is not showing the second one that I opened. I had mentioned a separate actual text file where I have my notes on. These are the entries and how they're framed, so that if I'm going to be overwriting sections, it is formatted properly. Sometimes I make notes about names of hairstyles or specific color codes for particular things. The notes I have for include this is what this section looks like, and then these are the numbers that I want to change in it. With age, growth at 1.0 is hitting age 18 or older. So the way I figured out how many ticks is in a year was based on using the percentage of grown and the number of ticks that had passed to reverse engineer that. And then for them to be technically grown enough to be fully functional adult is 13. But so I have notes for that, but I'm not going to edit their age. But that is math that can be done and that I have done. I just don't have to redo it because I kept the notes on the numbers I would change things to, but I did not preserve all of the calculation notes. But that's where that is. Health tracker. I expect that in his health tracker, that's where we're going to see his scar and just be able to clear that. A thing I do is, now this is something you can do in the forced starting conditions, is you can have their needs start off fulfilled. Actually, I have overwritten instead of deleted and typing it in, and it takes longer, and I'm just letting it actually show that. When I'm overwriting entire sections, especially if they have formatting in them, then I will do the copy and paste, just even if it does take longer, just to make sure nothing's wrong. But we're going to have those basic needs actually be met fully, at least when they start. I don't bother with the other stuff. If they had a relationship, if they were siblings, is the easiest example. They would have a list of 2 parent human pawn names, or human pawn numbers. There would not be names. And then they would both just have that same set of list items in there. Or is it a single piece? Anyway, they don't have it. But it would go inside the direct relations if it were there. I know because I have made people siblings before. Now, skills and list items with major and minor passions. Now, if I didn't also give them the you learn real fast, the major passions would matter, but they don't. Like, it gives them a bigger mood boost while they're working, but they don't need the bigger learning boost from it. So, the way I have done how I set this section up is I have rolled enough random pawns to have valid numbers that these are things I could just keep rolling and get, or I can get people who are healthy who need minimal tweaks and then just give them what I want, regardless of whatever their backstory is. So, and I have rolled enough of them that I know I can get a total of 8 flames and 35 points. The major passions are 2 flames, the minors are 1, and since I don't need the added bonuses for the majors, I spread it out across more skills. But that's how this section looks, and that's how I make the decisions about cleaning it up. And if I'm starting with more than one person, having them have some overlap for the stuff that all hands on deck is better is good, but also some separation for I do need some division of labor, so everyone being good at the same things is nice as an idea, but then it just fucks up my workflow and makes me have to micromanage more. And I don't want to have to micromanage more than I already do. Then this, if I actually had the ideology expansion, that would matter more. I don't. Some of what I do does modify that. Oh, this reminds me that one of the things that I'm real bad at remembering to do, especially when we've gotten a new recruit, is fix the schedule so that it's anything all the time. Otherwise, people do stupid shit instead of the things I need them to do. You're not actually tired. Don't go to bed. Go do something. I don't actually see a positive side to having that, because it's just disruptive and distracting for me, but I guess some people see some value in it. I will probably never understand that approach to their gameplay, but that's fine. But yeah, the bottom of this is the extent of where I actually engage with. I'm not actually changing a whole lot. And then we just go to the next one. Um, oh, no, actually, 2 is fine, and then it's... Oh, no, 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 no. It's 2, and then 5, and then 1. I think is what I want there, and middle of the road number. But yeah, him. His gun. His age. This. He doesn't need that. Now, I could trim it to the same formatting as if there were no entry there. Like with the others. But now, he should be fully healthy. He still has food and rest and recreation needs to be met, as temporarily as it may be. No, I'm not actually modifying their skills, I'm just showing what that looks like and talking about how I change it. I'm not tweaking theirs. But that's as much of that as I'm going to do for them. And then we can just load that game. And because I did color changes, that'll be immediately obvious. But the entry that was there is no longer. And that was the point of having him have something wrong with him, was so that we can see what it looks like with and without, and confirm that it did work. But that's as simple and complicated as that is. And honestly, there are things I have not tried to change because there are more list items and just entire sections that I would need to tweak to make it work. Like, if I wanted to swap, if I wanted to change the gender on one, if I wanted them both to be girls or dudes, or if I just wanted to swap them entirely. I haven't done that yet, but the way those aspects are housed, it wouldn't be that difficult, especially if I made them essentially twins, because then I just clone one section over the other. But I haven't actually gone in and done that yet. Kind of a shame to not use this, since it's got so much of... That's a whole herd of them. Just right there. No, you spawned with a bunch of explodey fuckers. I like you less now. But yeah, that's as simple as that is, and of course there's another one over there. Still, honestly, I just haven't opened the game again to even think about Skyrim. But I do eventually want to get around to talking about the mods, the non-sketchy mods I have there. But mods, like other things, are simpler to talk about and streamline here. So, there you have it, including some behind the scenes of the mostly easy structural decisions I make. But yeah, I am going to go back to playing the less than safe, or reading or something, and pick up, I'm not sure what yet, next time.